Hello, everyone, and today we are finishing Surah 6.
Yes, Surah 6 is coming to an end. It is at its close. I have the Study Quran, the Quran Project's Quran, the Penguin Classics Quran. We also have a thematic commentary on the Quran.
We have Qurans from Abdullah Yusuf Ali, Maulana Muhammad Ali, and the Quran and the Bible from Gabriel Said Reynolds. And I know last time we went over some of the arguments for I guess it would effectively be an argument for God. But this was the signs that were given to the people, and that included amazing things such as look at the trees.
Yeah, basically.
That is kind of what it boils down to.
It's not a very impressive set of things.
Yeah, I have been told so many times about like the proofs for God and the arguments for God in the Quran specifically. And that was some of the most atrocious I have ever seen. That is like early YouTube apologetics shit.
Gravity. How does it work?
Yeah, gravity, how does it work?
Yes.
Magnets. How do they work?
What was it? It was Bill O'Reilly, remember?
God, I hate that.
Where he had oh yeah, that's right. The phrase was tide goes in, tide goes out. You can't explain that. And that was his argument for God. And I forget if it was it Dawkins or Silverman? No, I think it was Dave Silverman. Who I think has kind of went off the rails in recent years. But I forget who exactly it was. I forget if it was Dawkins or Silverman. But they were like, tide goes in, tide goes out. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, that can't be your argument, man. It was very funny. Because that's just this is just convincing for some people.
You can't explain it.
Right. I can because it's easy.
Explain how magnets work.
Oh, I have no idea. You have to ask like a physicist or something.
No, you could ask me.
Oh.
No. As we all know,
Or
Chris
something.
is a physicist.
I am not a physicist.
He knows so much about physics and quantum mechanics.
That is
this guy
one
has
of the few things
the
that
biggest
I
brain
bothered studying.
out there.
Did Chris go to clown school?
No.
I don't know.
Actually, I probably suck as a clown because I just don't want to clown.
Would you be
great
talking
as
the
a
whole
clown.
time?
Huh?
Would you be talking the whole time?
I don't know. I feel like at some point I'd have to do something like blow up a balloon animal. Or maybe like honk my nose or have a eye in my face.
You got to do like
Maybe.
a special clown voice. Like,
I don't know.
Oh my
Goofy.
yeah,
Goofy
something
noise, like
yeah,
Goofy?
like Goofy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I can do voice acting. I just don't like doing anything anymore, basically. So that includes that.
Mm-hmm.
That one was a long time ago that I
That's
stopped.
unfortunate because I only take my magnet information from
Voice
insane
actors.
clowns
Clowns.
and their posses.
Oh, jeez.
So
I'm a little insane sometimes, but not enough to do anything.
I think you could pull it off.
Probably I could do a lot of things, but we're not there.
what verse are we on?
So we're at 130, I believe.
Yeah, flat.
Okay.
130 flat.
Yeah.
I thought so because this is an interesting verse here.
Yeah, we got some
everyone.
gin already. Oh, I should have brought gin.
Yeah, you should have.
Okay,
We
unfortunately.
could have made
A lot of gin jokes and gin
Tom
drinks.
Collins.
Instead of Tom Collins?
Yeah, so you take 1 part gin to like basically 3 parts lemonade.
Oh, okay.
It's just putting gin in lemonade.
Yeah.
And
I guess that
sugar.
can't be too bad because it's mostly lemonade, and lemonade's pretty good.
It's basically a Mike's Hard lemonade, but a little ginny.
Sure, yeah. I've never been the biggest gin person.
Well, there's all sorts of different gins. Gin's just like vodka that has herbs in it.
Sure, yeah.
So it could be anything depending on the brand.
I suppose. I've only had like one kind, and it was a while ago anyways, so.
See, you should make your own.
I'll make my own gin?
Yeah.
Okay.
You got to get a license, I think,
All right.
to distill.
I'll get right on that, buddy.
No, do it illegally.
You heard it here first. Lawrence is committed to creating his own gin. He'll probably make a video about it.
Oh.
For one of his classes. Anyway, oh, company of jinn and human beings.
Oh.
I guess we're in on this.
Yeah.
Did not messengers come unto you from among yourselves, recounting unto you my signs and warning you of the meeting with this your...
Is the page missing or something?
Your day? They capitalized day.
Sure. Maybe it's like the day of judgment, day of the Lord.
They will say, we bear witness against ourselves. The life of this world deluded them, and they bear witness against themselves that they were disbelievers. That is because thy Lord would never destroy towns for their wrongdoings while their people were heedless.
Wait, hold on. Okay, so
What?
What?
And this world's life deceived them, and they will bear witness against themselves that they were disbelievers. Yeah, this is because thy Lord would not destroy towns unjustly while their people are negligent. So my guess here is that this would be like if people aren't fully aware, or if people haven't been informed about these signs that they were given, right? Or that would be people and jinn. Sorry, jinn are included in that.
Yeah, some suggest that jinn create their own messengers.
Yes. The idea is that just as every group has their own apostles, the jinn would have the exact same thing.
Yes, and
So
they're equally judged.
Right. And that could be the they have like a whole I don't know what it's called, but like they have like a whole almost demonology or angelology of jinn.
Mm-hmm.
Like this whole kind of nested hierarchy for them.
Mm-hmm. What do they call their like book about it?
I have no idea.
Jeez.
I have absolutely no clue.
The genealogy.
Genealogy, sure, yeah.
Man.
That's pretty good.
What else is there? The
I think genealogy is probably the best you're gonna get.
or the Jinn Rummy.
No, I think genealogy was probably better.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is pretty good. It that's like multiple puns in one.
like it.
That's very good.
They have to play a card game called Jinn Rummy. That's completely unrelated.
Oh, okay. All
Anyways, let's continue on. Unto each are degrees in accordance with that which they have done, and thy Lord is not heedless of that which they do. Thy Lord is self-sufficient, possessed of mercy. If he will, he can remove you, and in your place appoint whomsoever he will to succeed you, just as he brought you into being from the progeny of another people.
Yeah, if he wishes, he will take you away and make whomever he wishes succeed you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I suppose he does have that power. And when it comes to, I guess in the usage of that in this discourse, at least, we're talking about people not believing signs.
Mm-hmm.
And when he says that, he produced you from the descendants of another people, that would be like they came from the line of the Jews, right? And if these people now in this generation that they're talking about don't follow, he can just bring up an entirely different generation.
Well, biblically speaking, he has an ongoing agreement with the Jews.
Sure, yeah.
In particular, it's not clear that he does have the power to willingly break his established agreements. He can.
It seems that in the Bible, at least, from what I remember, he is always like he can only break it if the people break it. Mm-hmm. So, like, if they stop, sacrificing or worshiping in a certain way or something, then he, is a dick about it.
Even so, it's not like that permanently breaks the agreement.
Right, yeah, they're still kind of bound by it.
Yeah. So eventually, if they come back around, then he's supposed to abide by the same agreement.
Yeah, exactly.
Here, this is addressed to people on regarding the Day of Judgment. So
sure, yeah.
Like you don't really have more time afterwards. I
well,
guess.
to be fair, even at least with the New Testament, right? People thought that the Day of Judgment was like going to be in their lifetime.
Always.
Paul thought it was going to be in his lifetime.
That's the hope.
Yeah. Every single generation of Christians since then had many people believing that it was going to be in their lifetime.
Well, every single generation of Christians since then has probably had like family members who died and also themselves did not want to die.
Right, yeah.
So like they want
that to happen, yeah.
Yeah, they want it to happen. Consistently throughout all time. But it's clearly not the case.
Sorry, everyone. You're stuck here. This place sucks.
And every time, do you hear a lot of end time prophecies on campus?
On campus?
Yeah.
Like, do you mean like from students or do you mean from
preachers?
Preachers, not that much, because the one guy who would come around and do that a lot, Brother Jed, died.
Yeah, he's gone.
Yeah, but I'm sure that there are still some Christian groups around campus that believe that stuff. I haven't really been interacting too much with them because every single time, or with like different groups, right? Because every single time they invite me to their Bible study and I tell them what I do, they don't want to have the Bible study anymore because they want to be predators about it. They want to be predatory about it. They want people who are not familiar with the Bible or like the religious traditions.
Or like historical critical or textual critical analysis.
Right. They don't want any of that shit. No, they want fresh minds that you can easily brainwash. And even though I don't think they're thinking of it as brainwashing, they are convinced, they know that they can't save me because I know too much about this shit. They probably view me as too far gone, but
even demon possessed,
perhaps. But yeah, it's very predatory.
Yikes!
It is. But yeah, end times preachers like this book right here.
Yeah.
Say, "Oh, my people, work in accordance with your ability. I too." Wait. Indeed, that which you are promised shall come to pass, and you cannot thwart it. Say, "Oh, my people, work in accordance with your ability. I too am working. Soon you shall know whose end is the abode. Surely the wrongdoers will not prosper."
So let's see here. This has also been translated, at least the first part of that, as "Oh, my people, do whatever you can." In so far as this is addressed to the unbelievers, it is a challenge. Do your utmost. Nothing will deter me from my duty. We shall see who wins in the end. Passing from the particular occasion, we can understand it in a more general sense, which is true for all time. Let the evil ones do their worst.
Yeah, well, they're like, do your best.
Yeah, you do your best, and while others
best you possibly can.
Yeah.
Yep. And they dedicate to God a share of the crops and cattle he created, saying, "This belongs to God," or so they claim. "And this belongs to our partners, but that which is for their partners does not reach God, and that which is for God does not reach their partners. Evil indeed is the judgment they make."
Yes, again, going back to the whole God doesn't have any partners sort of thing. And now they're doing it through the example of sacrifices.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because
so he's just complaining that like non-believer, I guess believers actually, Allahists, like Yahwists,
sure,
right? These non-monotheistic organizations.
The thing is, if they're talking about associate gods or like partners, that would include both a whole bunch of polytheists, but also Trinitarians.
Of course.
Yeah.
And potentially some Jews. It really depends on what you consider the Shekinah to be.
Right. Sure, the Shekinah. That could be it. You could interpret that as its own thing.
I mean, modern Jews are clearly monotheistic, unless they're like Kabbalists that are still monotheistic, but it's different.
Yeah, I think at this point in time, they still would have been. I would have still considered it monotheism. Yeah, it's not like I don't think the Shekinah would have been at that point yet, because Kabbalistic stuff didn't really show up until the 11th or 12th centuries.
No, we do have, by this time, as has been referenced in here, a lot of extra biblical literature, which Muhammad uses as a resource.
Ton of it.
Yeah. And
some stuff we don't even have access to anymore, it seems like, unless he totally made up that whole stuff about Cain.
Right. There's a lot of wacky shit that happens, to be frank.
Yeah.
In a lot of extra biblical literature.
A ton.
And if we take that into account, then there are probably tons of monotheistic, like Jewish type sects.
Yeah.
And given that Muhammad is referencing materials that are not in the canon that we're familiar with.
Right. This is why I don't think he had access to that. Yeah. I think he legit just would have heard a whole bunch of stories. That's why he doesn't directly quote things either.
Right.
He heard a bunch of stories. He took what he liked, and then all this came from it.
Look, here's the question, right? When there was a mixture of stories, like in the cow, when they mixed the two Moses stories of hitting the rock and producing the 12 streams.
Everything was so mixed up.
Is that because Muhammad mixed that up? Or is it because of some pre-Muhammadan text that we don't currently have access to?
I don't know.
It's not clear. At least I don't know, because it's really not clear how original this
how much he takes, or what's it called? How much creative freedom he takes with these? Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. Anyways, let's continue on.
137, I think.
Yes. Likewise, have their partners made the slaying of their children seem fair unto many of the idolaters, that they may ruin them and confound them in their religion? Had God willed, they would not have done so. So leave them and that which they fabricate. Okay, here, the slaying of the children, is that a reference to literally killing the children, or is it slaying them by confounding them with their non-Islam religion?
There is
that ultimately dooms them in the judgment day, right?
Right.
Which is it?
So there are a good amount of notes on this one. So the translation from Said Reynolds is that is how to many of the polytheists above, whom they ascribe as partners to God, present the slaying of the children as decorous, that they may ruin them and confound their religion for them. So Islamic tradition explains this verse. We can also cross-reference some other verses that we'll get to later.
Just systematically, pausing there for a moment, it says, slay them, that they may ruin them and confound them in their religion, which it doesn't make sense to me that they would be actively trying to confuse them about religion after having killed them.
Right, yeah.
If you're saying it's a literal slaying of the children.
So, Islamic tradition explains this verse with stories of the pagan Meccans burying their children alive. Tafsir al-Jalain explains, and thus those associates of theirs from among the jinn have adorned for many of the idolaters the slaying of their children by burying them alive. And then it goes to Said Reynolds' comment. It is possible, however, that the Quran is here in conversation with those biblical passages which condemn the sacrifice of children to other gods, notably Deuteronomy 12:31. This is not the way to treat the Lord your God, for in honor of their gods they have done everything detestable that the Lord hates. Yes, in honor of their gods they even burn their own sons and daughters. There's a lot to talk about there. One might also note the warning against killing children in the early Christian text known as the Didache, or the Didache, I guess. And he does quote that.
Which we'd never read.
We didn't, but I do have the Hermenia copy of it.
Really?
Yeah.
Why didn't we read it? Do you have the best version?
I don't know. We just never did.
Wow.
What?
There is it has a very interesting thing about the baptism in it, because in the baptismal creeds that we get, it's you baptize in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, right?
Yeah.
It's in the name of all three, but in the way that it shows up in the Didache, it would be you baptize in the name of the Father, and in the name of the Son, and in the name of the Holy Spirit. So it's three separate ones instead of one altogether. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah. So, but on this verse, continuing on here, that was 137? Yeah. It says here, it was a custom among the Arab idolaters to set apart certain portions of produce to their own. Or sorry. I'm actually at the wrong line. I was talking about the one beforehand. So so this one on the killing of the children, this refers to the practices of slaying or burying alive the female children, and also to the human sacrifices to idols, as they sometimes vowed that if they had a number of sons, they would sacrifice one of them to an idol. And these are all from different hadith. So it is. I have my doubts as to their practices of child sacrifice at this point. This was used polemically in
various biblical sources.
Yeah, especially. And the reality of something like that could be, you could go to Francesca Stavrakopoulos' book, but she's mostly talking about Manasseh there and how it was kind of used to, defame him. But then you could also check Heath Durrell's Child Sacrifice in Ancient Israel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not to say that there weren't like things involving children that we might think of as like bad.
Sure, yeah.
Right.
But
there's still that today.
Yeah.
Right? There's
that is also
like
true, yeah.
the child genital mutilation
Yeah.
thing, right? That's pretty bad.
Yeah, my guess here is that instead of actual child sacrifices, what is probably happening is polemical. That's my guess. It's whatever it is an exaggeration to make them seem worse than they actually are. That's my guess, but I have not studied the. I'm sure there have been like excavations done that could shed some light on this. I'm sure that there are other texts that would have talked about this, so maybe it does exist. I just don't have those sources on me, because it seems like the only ones we're dealing with are a whole bunch of different hadith. It seems like all these sources are that these scholars at least are citing have been fairly biased. So
Yep.
I'm going to say take it with a grain of salt.
And they say, these cattle and crops are sacrosanct. None shall eat of them save whom we will, or so they claim. And there are cattle whose backs are forbidden, and cattle over which they do not invoke the name of God, fabricating against him. Soon will he recompense them for that which they used to fabricate.
Yes, I think this one came up before, right?
Mm-hmm.
This whole like putting the name on the cattle thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure
you have to only eat meat that has been had the name of God.
Oh, right, because they had to be sacrificed. And
I had commented
in their name,
how horrific like the slaughterhouse would be.
Right, yeah. Right. So you have to keep doing it every single time, yeah.
Yeah,
saying like in the name of God.
Line, like it's not good, not good at all.
Oh.
Anyways.
Also, I don't even think I said this. I didn't even say hello to everybody in chat.
Yeah.
Look how many people we got. We got April, Ryan, Lilith is here. Lilith is like never here. And we got some newbies here as well. Was that Elias? And I don't know how to pronounce that other name.
But that's an interesting message.
Quite interesting. And Chrissy is in here as well.
Welcome, Chrissy.
Yes. So, hello, everyone. Thank you for being here.
Yes. Thank you for being here. Let's continue. And they say, that which is in the bellies of these cattle is reserved for our males and forbidden to our wives. But if it be stillborn, then all shall have a share therein. Soon he will recompense them for that which they ascribe. Truly, he is wise, knowing.
So these would be the unborn of the cattle that are being sacrificed. Everything that is in that stage is just reserved for the men, apparently?
Apparently, this is connected with the practices of Bahira and Sa'iba. They're permissible exclusively for men. Only stillborn offspring were permitted to both men and women for consumption. Wives here is widely interpreted by commentators to refer to women generally.
Right. This is the practice of the pagans, right? The supposed practice of the pagans, and we've seen multiple times where they talked about their weird beliefs about cattle. Which, again, I don't know how true exactly those representations would be, but this is apparently another one of them. That would be an interesting topic to talk about. How pagans are represented in their superstitions.
It would be. It would be an interesting comparative analysis between the Bible and, well, even all three of them, right? The New Testament, the Tanakh, and the Quran.
Yeah, how you often misrepresent your opponents. And you could even compare it to like Rome, too, because Rome often, if they want to present someone as bad, they would call them like, they would basically make them look like sexual deviants, is the thing. Is it what they would do? So like some of like the stereotypically bad emperors we think of, were often portrayed as like super like sexual, but that's probably just a polemic because no good emperor is ever said to be like a sexual deviant. So a lot of people think that is that's meant to be a kind of attack on people that they didn't like. It's just to say that they were sexual deviants.
I am sure that Marcus Aurelius had some really fun times.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Surely.
Marcus Aurelius was getting around.
Okay, that's just really weird that the cattle would be reserved for men, but then stillborn.
Yeah, that's for everybody. Yeah, so this is another one of those things that they may or may not actually believe.
Yeah. Lost indeed are those who slay their children foolishly without knowledge and make forbidden that which God has provided them, fabricating against God. They indeed have gone astray and were not rightly guided.
Yeah. So same stuff that we have seen before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you aren't following, sucks for you because you're gonna be a loser.
Yep.
Which is the translation used here, loser.
He it is who brings into being gardens, trellised and untrellised, and the date palm and the crops with diverse produce, olives and pomegranates, like unto one another, and yet not alike. Eat of their fruit when they grow, and pay the due thereof on the day of its harvest. But be not prodigal. Truly he loves not the prodigal.
The date or the pay that's due.
Right, because you have to make a sacrifice of harvest as well as animals.
Right, yeah. So this is kind of what we saw earlier, but now it's kind of making it more sacrificial, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Where this almost sounds like the look at the tree stuff, but it's not quite, because they're not arguing for a God here.
Mm-hmm.
They're saying that because of all this amazingness, God has to be, praised.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, just like that.
This
Put a bit more oomph into it, though.
I don't know.
So there's a little bit at the end here, being not prodigal. It may pertain to the portion of the harvest given in charity, indicating that one should not give so much away that one would not have enough to feed oneself. Alternatively, be not prodigal may mean here to avoid being wasteful or excessive in a way that would prevent one from giving this charitable portion.
Yeah, it does look like it's translated as like loveth not the wasters, and as well as he does not like the wasteful.
Mm.
Well, that's too bad.
And he produces the cattle, some for burden, some for slaughter. Eat of that which God has provided you, and follow not the footsteps of Satan. Truly, he is a manifest enemy among you. So I guess you can't be a vegan.
What?
Wait, hold on. And of the cattle, he has created some for burden and some for slaughter. Eat of that which... Okay. I could see an argument in which, you could interpret this as, like, if you are going to eat of those, eat the ones that are for slaughter.
Well, it's not like a conditional statement, right? It's not phrased as an if. Right? We should be careful not to impart.
True, yeah. Some are made. Yeah, but some are made for burden, some are for slaughter. But I guess those are the only two options, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's not like some are meant to roam free in the countryside, happy, prancing about and mooing. Right.
Why not?
Okay, so here's the Arabs considered those animals which were otherwise lawful for them to be unlawful in particular cases. These practices, which were all superstitious, resulting from idol worship, are here condemned. Oh wait, that's in the next verse. Sorry.
I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I fucked that one up.
Fuck that one up.
Oh. Why'd you do that?
I don't know. I don't know why I did that at all.
Why'd you do that? 8 pairs of sheep, 2, and the goats, 2. Say it is the 2 males he is forbidden, or the 2 females, or that which the womb of the 2 females contains. Tell me with knowledge if you are truthful. And of camels, 2, and of oxen, 2. Say, is it the 2 males he is forbidden, or the 2 females, or that which the wombs of the 2 females contain, or were you present when God enjoined this upon you? Who does greater wrong than one who fabricates a lie against God, that he may lead men astray without knowledge? Truly, God guides not wrongdoing people.
So these are supposed to be more like ridiculous practices that they're calling out, right? Because they're talking about like their. Okay, so yeah, 8. The way this is translated is actually quite different. So it says here, 8 in pairs of the 8 in pairs of the sheep 2 and of the goats 2. Mm-hmm. But then that's in one version. So, but then another one it says take 8 head of cattle. Mm-hmm. So in the
well, this the point is right that they have all these superstitions, and he's like, well, what basis do you have for those superstitions? Were you there when God said what goes around and comes around? Like, it's not. It's totally baseless. Whereas my prophethood is.
Oh, he makes it very simple. I think that's the idea. Mm-hmm. That he is saying that like, oh, mine is very simple. Some is just for burden, and some are not.
Mm-hmm. Straightforward. He's saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all right, let's continue on a little bit more here. Say, I do not find in that which is revealed unto me anything forbidden to one who would eat thereof, save carrion or blood poured forth, or the flesh of swine, for that's surely defilement, or a sinful offering made to other than God. But whosoever is compelled by necessity, without willfully disobeying or transgressing, truly the Lord is forgiving, merciful. And unto those who are Jews, we forbade every animal with claws, and of oxen and sheep.
Having an undivided hoof.
Mm-hmm. We forbade them the fat thereof, save that upon their backs, or the entrails, or that which is mingled with bone. Thus we did recompense them for their willful disobedience, and surely we are truthful.
So this section, beginning with verse 136, actually, involves a polemic against certain ritual practices of the Quran's opponents, followed by a declaration of the Quran's own ritual food laws in 145 there. Yeah, that's where they're saying their own, and they seem much more simple. Thereafter, the Quran adds a polemic against the strict dietary laws of the Jews, citing specific food restrictions close to those laid out in Leviticus. The Quran presents these restrictions as a punishment for Jewish rebelliousness. Mm-hmm. That's right, yeah, because they do interpret those things as just too hard, or yeah, it's coming back around. I guess it's going full circle, right? Because some interpreters in this period, not necessarily Muslims, but like a lot of interpreters of this period thought that like the law was specifically there because like, you know, like, oh, we're new to this thing, like we couldn't fully understand what the proper law, so we need this new one. So this happens every time there's a new covenant or a New Testament. They just say, well, the other one worked for a little while, but we got to move on from that, which is why Jesus is here. I guess in this case, this is why Muhammad is here. So it's kind of part of the course for that.
Yes. But if they deny thee, say, your Lord is possessed of vast mercy, but his might will not be averted from the guilty people.
Hold on. Does anyone know who the son of Ezra is? Like Abraham ibn Ezra? That would be Abraham's son of Ezra, right? No, because never mind. Fuck. the commentator, the medieval Jewish commentator. Okay, whatever. Fuck you guys.
I'm familiar with Abraham ibn Ezra.
Okay. Ezra, son of God. I'm not sure.
I mean, if he's referring to the biblical Ezra, it's a little different.
Right, yeah. Not sure what you mean there.
It's just kind of like a racist. That was Ezra and Nehemiah, where they threw out all the anyone who wasn't of the 12 tribes bloodline. So all the wives that they had from the Babylonians.
Yeah, they said don't sleep with them.
Yep.
Yeah.
And throw them out.
Right, yeah.
And the children, too. It's pretty harsh.
Yeah, you're telling me. They, even though they were saved by them, they did not want to intermarry.
Mm-hmm.
They were like, yeah, say your thank yous, but no, don't go anywhere near them.
The Quran says Jews worship Ezra as the son of God, as Christians worship Messiah as God. So I haven't seen that yet.
I also haven't seen that.
I guess the explanation might be that some traditions hold that Ezra was the author,
right?
Of a substantial portion of the,
or he was a compiler.
The compiler.
Oh, it's Surah 9. Okay, we haven't gotten to Surah 9. So
Surah 9. We'll get to Surah 9 eventually. We're in Surah 6 yet. Anyways, why don't I hand it off to you with 148, and you can read through the rest of the surah.
148?
Yeah.
Not 147?
No, I read 147.
Oh, okay. Did you? Okay. Yeah. All right, then. Yeah, but if they impugn you, say your Lord is dispenser of an all-embracing mercy, that one?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Okay. In that case, I will go with 148. All right, so I'm going to be reading from Gabriel Said Reynolds' translation. The polytheists will say, had God wished, we would not have ascribed any part to him, nor our fathers, nor would have forbidden anything. Yeah, no, sorry, nor we would have
nor
forbidden.
Would we.
Okay, well, this one says, nor we would have forbidden anything. So,
well,
not great.
Not great.
Yeah. Those who were before them had impugned likewise until they tasted our punishment. Say, do you have any revealed knowledge that you can produce for us? You follow nothing but conjectures, and you do nothing but make surmises.
So this verse has the surah resuming its engagement with the Meccan idolaters, presenting and then challenging Meccans' claims that their invented ritual practices were a matter of divine will, and thus suggested that these practices were part of revealed law. Their argument is that had God willed, they would not have ascribed partners unto God.
Yeah, or
which is true according to Muhammad.
Sure, right.
But
this whole thing of like, well, if you don't have any revelation, then like you can't. You're going off of nothing. Which, to be fair, a whole lot of people go off of things that aren't even pretending to be revelation.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I know that they say this is a revelation. I mean, we know it's not, but a lot of people do say it is. So that's like the whole thing, right? That this is a revelation, like the final one. Yeah. But it's just very funny saying, well, if you don't have any revealed knowledge, you're going off of nothing. It's very, what's the analogy? The pot calling the kettle black? Is that the analogy?
I suppose that's, what you want to go with.
I'm pretty sure that's the analogy, right? Yeah.
Although these verses have been read by some to suggest that God willed the idolaters to observe these practices, they can also be understood to mean that God is capable of altering the idolaters' practices, but he abstains from doing so in order to allow them to choose freely whether to participate in them or not. Well, I don't think that is the case.
Right, yeah.
I think that they have said several times throughout several surahs that it's basically just fatalism that we're dealing with.
It is. Yes, fatalism. Yes, it's exactly what that is. If God doesn't want you to believe, you're not going to believe. Straight up. Mm-hmm. That's like end of story.
Thanks.
So it's like, why even try?
I'm not.
Yeah, I know you're not. Let's see here. So 149 now. Mm-hmm. Say, to God belongs the conclusive argument. Had he wished, he would have surely guided you all. Yes. Yeah.
There you go.
Say, bring your witnesses who may testify that God has forbidden this. So if they testify, do not testify with them, and do not follow the desires of those who deny our signs and those who do not believe in the hereafter and equate others with their Lord. So yeah, polytheists, people who are not, well, I guess people who aren't Muslim, right? People who are not believers.
Right.
Yeah. And there's, even if they were Jewish, I think it would be like still a specific type of believer, which I guess they would just put under the banner of Muslim.
The commentary here just interprets it as polytheists.
That could be part of it, sure. But I doubt it was that simple. Let's see. That was 150. That was 150. Okay. Say, come, I will recount what your Lord has forbidden you. That you shall not ascribe any partners to him, and you shall be good to the parents. You shall not kill your children due to penury. What the hell is penury?
Fear of poverty.
Okay. Fear of poverty. All right. If anyone knows...
that's a pretty normal fear for most people.
Sure, yeah, but if anyone knows the word penury, that'd be...
I'm going to say that's the word of the day.
You know, now we have a word of the day segment where Chris gives us a word of the day and then writes on stream the word of the day.
Not doing that. That's a lot of work. Jeez.
I'm going to continue on, though. So we will provide for you and for them.
Penury. Okay. Noun. Extreme poverty.
Gotcha. Okay.
Destitution. Example.
What do you mean?
He
example?
died in a state of virtual penury.
Okay. So very, very poor. Okay, gotcha.
Similar to extreme or dire poverty.
Yes. All right.
Pennilessness. Impecuniousness.
Oh, another one.
Impoverishment. Indigence.
Sure. Yeah. Indigent.
Destitution.
See, that's one that I learned, I think, a year or two ago? Indigent? Yeah.
Well, now you know impecunious.
Impecunious. Pretty good.
Or pauperdom.
Wait, hold on. It's penury?
Yep.
Okay, gotcha.
Penury.
Penury.
Okay, whatever. I'll have to look it up later. Stop confusing me with all these capital and lowercase letters. All right. Continuing on, though.
Those are your favorite words, capital and lowercase.
And you shall be good to your parents. You shall not kill your children due to penury. We will provide for you and for them. You shall not approach indecencies, the outward among them and the inward ones, and you shall not kill a soul whose life God has made inviolable. Okay. Except with due cause. This is what he has enjoined upon you so that you may exercise your reason. So this is very much, like their own list of commandments.
Mm-hmm.
But these are the things, these are specifically the things that God has forbidden you.
Mm-hmm. And there's specific commandments, and
some of them are similar to
some of them are like literally you be virtuous toward parents.
Sure, yeah, that one's exactly the same. Yeah.
Right. But this continues into the next verse. Actually.
Oh, it is? Okay. I'll continue on then. Do not approach the orphan's property except in the best possible manner until he comes of age. Observe fully the measure and the balance with justice. We ask no soul except according to its capacity.
Yeah, we task no soul beyond its capacity.
Man, this translation actually isn't that amazing.
Amazing.
Actually, I guess some of these are just harder to read than others. They're very hit or miss, honestly. All of these translations.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, so we task.
Ideally, you would read it in Arabic.
Well, sure. Yeah, I get that. Yeah, so we task no soul beyond its capacity. Okay. So some of these things, it's kind of interesting, right? Because these are much closer to commandments, but these are more like the restrictive ones, right? Like, here's what you're not allowed to do. But this is different from like the stuff that you are supposed to do, right? Like, this is different from going on pilgrimage or fasting, because this is stuff that you're not supposed to do.
Ralph.
Okay, listen. Whatever.
Read that.
I don't want to actually read that because that is quite the word, and I don't actually want to read that.
Okay, it's Flochenouch.
Oh, why are you even trying? Why are you trying?
Flochenouch.
Okay, baby.
Hilification.
I agree. Good word.
Hard C.
Sure, I agree. Yeah, good word. Good word. And on that note, maybe I'll continue before Ruben's brain explodes.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
Yeah, continuing on here. Well, actually, hold on. Let me see. I don't know if you have any commentary on these specifically other than like, oh, these share some similarities to the Ten Commandments or other rules.
Did you finish 152?
152? Oh, no, I'm halfway through it. Yeah. And when you speak, be just, even if it were a relative, and even if it were a relative, that's funny. And fulfill God's covenants. This is what he enjoins upon you so that you may take admonition.
Yeah. When you speak, be just, even if it be against a kinsman.
Yeah, against. That makes sense.
So this is an answer to the initial Euthyphro dilemma, right? Because Euthyphro is arguing with Socrates about whether or not it's just to take his father to court.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. So
you gotta do the just thing.
Yeah. Potential shout out there to Plato.
I was like, okay, I love it when unknown writers get shout outs.
Unknown writers.
Yeah, unknown writers.
Yeah, those.
Dude, you're really helping Plato out.
Those D-list celebrities.
Yeah.
Right. In response to false prohibitions the idolaters have invented for themselves, the prophet is instructed to recite that which your Lord has forbidden through authentic revelation. The list of prohibitions in these two verses brings together those mentioned elsewhere in the Quran. Throughout this surah, various ways of ascribing partners to God, or shirk, are described, including the worship of idols, celestial bodies, and jinn. The admonition against shirk here refers to all its forms. The paired command to ascribe nothing as partner unto God or to worship only him, and to be virtuous towards parents also appears in other verses. It indicates the importance of filial piety and suggests a relationship between proper worship of God and reverence and care for parents. After God, human beings are most indebted to their parents, given the extensive and solicitous care they were provided when they were young. And for this reason, the duty to worship God alone is followed immediately by the mention of duty to parents. Immediately followed the mention of children's duty to parents. The verse warns parents against slaying their children for fear of poverty. indicating that they should rely upon God to provide for the needs of themselves and their children. So I guess if you're a Muslim, you can't be like in favor of like abortion.
Right, yeah.
Right. If it pertains to someone's finances. Right. But also, like, factually, looking at the world, tons of people who believe in their God starve. And
Yeah,
like,
they do.
It's just factually not the case.
But that's why they're always talking about a day of judgment.
Mm.
That's supposed to be the big day where everything changes.
Okay. Well, immediately following the mention of children's duty to parents, there's that. The prohibition against slaying any soul save by right, that is, when it's warranted as a punishment for capital transgression, such as for murder, that occurs. It's pretty clear. Indecencies translates fawahish, which often connotes specifically sexual transgression, but here means more likely serious sins, moral transgressions of all sorts. Shunning such sins both outwardly and inwardly demonstrates true piety. For if one were to avoid sin publicly but commit it privately, it would indicate that one's motivation was simply to avoid public blame and not to obey God. Al-Razi observes that verse 151 contains 5 commands or prohibitions that can all be said to pertain to outward sin, while verse 152 contains 4 prohibitions that relate to inward sin, that is, sin done in private or surreptitiously, without others being witness to it. Some define inward sin as the intention to sin formulated in the heart. According to a well-known Islamic principle based on a hadith, deeds are according to intentions, meaning that the reward or punishment for a given act is dependent upon the intention of the one who commits it. There's more. Maybe you should jot down that the 9 commandments are in verses 151 through 152.
Yeah, that's right. There are 9 commandments. There are apparently a good amount of text written. In fact, later on, it seems like we are going to get a bigger commentary on this comparison. He does say here that scholars often connect this passage to the 10 Commandments. And
on what basis, really? I mean, there's being virtuous towards parents.
The thing is, it is listed in a very similar way.
Partners unto God.
Sure, yeah. Those would be the big ones. But the comparison would definitely come from.
I guess the indecencies could refer to adultery, in which case there is a parallel. And particularly it might also refer to coveting, because it says both inward and outward. Mm-hmm. So that could be an explanation for why there's 9 of them. It says, yes, slay not a soul that God has made inviolable. So no human murder, right? Approach not the orphan's poverty. Now, that's not one of the 10 commandments.
No, but there's a whole bunch of stuff in the Bible about, the orphans being like the most destitute. You should always be protecting the orphans and the widows, right? Mm-hmm. Interesting, we don't get stuff on widows, though.
Observe fully the measure with balance and justice. We task no soul beyond its capacity. When you speak, be just, even if it's against a kinsman. See, that's not a commandment.
It's not?
Yeah, there's apparently
the Bible.
Yeah, that is true. But regarding the 10 Commandments and the Quran, we will get more of that in chapter 17 or Surah 17.
Maybe it's one of the commandments, but it's not one of the 10 commandments.
Sure, yeah.
He gets a lot mixed up, generally, but it's interesting that he basically has a different formulation of half the 10 Commandments and then abandons.
Yeah, picking out the stuff that he thinks is the most important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we'll where the third voice is really quiet. Yeah, I mean Chris is.
Oh, sorry, I'm not by my mic. I didn't care to.
Right. Yeah.
I'm mumbling shit, anyways.
Yeah, he mumbles to himself a lot.
To myself.
Yeah, he always talks about like under his breath. He's always talking about stonks. He loves the stonks.
I do not give a shit about stonks.
Yeah, well, he that's usually what he's mumbling about. He's like, mumble. Something
to the
about
guys,
NASDAQ.
I'm the producer. I'm talking to them. Sometimes.
Speaking of stonks, they haven't been looking very good.
Dude,
I don't think so.
Don't even bring that.
Not good.
Not good. I'll continue on with verse 153 though.
Actually, they might make a good slide if you look at them like a graph.
Sure, yeah. 153. This indeed is my straight path, so follow it, and do not follow other ways, for they will separate you from his way. This is what he enjoins upon you, so that you may be God-wary. So that's all of those things that you shouldn't be doing, plus talking, I think, we had some stuff before about the dietary laws. But continuing on, though. Then we gave Moses the book, completing our blessing on him who is virtuous, and as an elaboration of all things, and as guidance and mercy, so that they may believe in the encounter with their Lord. And this book we have sent down is a blessed one. So follow it and be God-wary so that you may receive his mercy. So they are just paralleling the law of Moses and the Quran. Mm-hmm. They are putting them on the same level. So if you are Jewish, the hope is that like you would take this just as seriously as you took the law of Moses.
Exactly.
Especially considering the 9 commandments we just went over.
Yes.
So 156. Right? Yeah, 156. Lest you should say, the book was sent down only to 2 communities before us, and we were indeed unaware of their studies. Or lest you should say, if the book had been sent down to us, we would have surely been better guided than them. There has already come to you a manifest proof from your Lord in guidance and mercy. So who is a greater wrongdoer than him who denies the signs of God and turns away from them? Soon we shall requite those who turn away from our signs with a terrible punishment because of what they used to evade.
Yes. So after the description of the Torah in the previous verses, the reference to the blessed book being sent down is to the Quran. As with the Torah, the Quran provides a means to obtain God's mercy. Once the Quran was sent down, the Meccans could no longer excuse their various moral and spiritual errors by claiming that the book, meaning Revelation in general, had not been sent down to them, but had been sent down to 2 groups, the Jews and the Christians. For similar arguments from disbelievers, there are other verses, but now
this seems to be something the Quran does quite often.
Yeah.
It brings up like what would be a pretty rational objection, and basically says they're like, well, you got no excuse because it's a little more known now.
While still providing like an irrational reason to.
Right, yeah. It kind of assumes that its reasons are rational. Mm-hmm. Like, look at the trees.
Right.
Look at the trees, see how rational we are.
Are you convinced by that, Chris? By looking at the trees?
Chris, have you ever seen a tree?
I go to a park.
Wow.
For walks.
Are you looking at trees?
No, it's a skate park.
It's a skate park.
Oh, wow. Yeah, just slabs of concrete. Yeah, no, there's lots of trees. It's tree-ridden.
I am now picturing Chris skateboarding.
Wow, you should.
I don't think I've ever seen Chris skateboard.
I'm bad at it, but not as bad as surfing.
Let's find a skateboard and
see?
record Chris on the skateboard and release it as a video to the patrons.
Yeah. I am sure all of our patrons would love to see.
I have a skateboard, sure.
Chris destroys face.
The video will last as long as Chris lasts on the skateboard. Once he falls off, that's it.
Yeah, that's all you're getting.
If it's real quick, it's real quick.
So good luck, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
All right, continuing on though. 158. Do they await anything but that the angels should come to them, or your Lord should come, or some of your Lord's signs should come? The day when some of your Lord's signs do come, faith will not benefit any soul that had not believed beforehand and had not earned some goodness in its faith. Say, wait, we too are waiting. This has been brought up before, right? When people, one of their, representations of their enemies is that like they are requiring more proof than this. They're like, well, give me a revelation, give me like a real sign, like something, more tangible. But because of all the stuff we learned about like not testing God and all that, like you shouldn't be asking for more. You should go off of what you are being given in this book. And honestly, the closest thing we get to an argument is look at the trees.
Look at the trees.
It is literally just look at the trees argument. I mean, not literally. It's figuratively a look at the trees argument.
It's very
literally
close.
A look at the dates and pomegranates argument.
Yeah.
You just don't blink and stare at a tree for a really long time, especially when they're like, I don't know, like a maple tree has leaves, got fractally stuff. You do kind of just see weird stuff, but I'm thinking that's like your brain no longer processing the image. It's very scientific, not like at all religious.
But in the midst of all of these verses where it's like putting down other religions and it's asserting itself to be better, it's just so ridiculous that like the reasoning that it provides for its own justification is just like a look at the trees argument.
It is really bad.
So bad.
The thing is like the Bible doesn't even come close to that, right?
No.
It just makes the assumption.
No, it just asserts that these things are the case.
Yeah, so the Quran, you could say, at least tried, but it was like, it's like you could tell, like early apologetics.
Yeah, like embarrassing, honestly.
So we can continue on, though.
Yeah, just keep going.
Yeah. So this is 159. Let me make sure I have this commentary open as well. All right. 159. Indeed, those who split up their religion and
may
become
refer to those who believe in some aspects or doctrines of religion and disbelieve in others.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. Who split up their religion and become sects? You will not have anything to do with them. Their matter rests only with God. Then he will inform them concerning what they used to do.
Yeah, so either you accept the whole Quran or you're a part of a faction that has to be judged for what you do. And that judgment is going to be determined about how not exactly 100% in alignment with the Quran you are.
Yeah, it looks like, Well, the thing is, this commentary says this refers primarily to the Jews and Christians.
Okay, well,
but includes sectarians of all religions who split up the unity of their religion.
Well, we've also in the past had statements in the Quran that are like, if you're a Christian, then you're supposed to follow the gospel.
Right, yes.
If you're a Jew, you're supposed to follow the Torah. So there's some notion of that.
Or people who you're right that when they talk about splitting up their religions, it's the interpretation here, because they view themselves as like this joint kind of thing, like there is only one clear interpretation, which by the way is still not true, because if there's any disagreement theologically, then it's clearly not clear.
Well, it's not only that, it's that within the Quran itself there's an established tradition of like the newer text abrogating the older text because there's contradictions in the text.
Right, which is not a problem because of the abrogation. Anyways, but the idea of like taking some parts of the faith but not the whole thing, it seems to be like, well, those are the people that are just like dishonest no matter what faith they are, right? You should just let God decide what to do with them.
Yeah.
But specifically, I guess in this context, it would make more sense if they're talking about Jews and Christians.
14 years of Aaron's vids. You know, you should watch all of our.
Yeah, on this
vids.
channel, we got about 10 years
Yeah.
worth of vids.
Yeah,
10 years
decade.
worth of vids. You could start with
Decade.
Atheist Sunday School.
There was a person who recently
Yes.
watched all of Atheist Sunday School, and then
All of Friday Apocryphal podcast.
yeah.
Are they around?
I have not. I think I saw one comment on the first episode of Secular Ultra Quran.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, watch the other series like straight through. Took what was it? Was it 6 months or something like that?
Something like that. Probably
7
got
months?
you like $2 in the process.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. But that was a lot of stuff. But the thing is that I'll tell you the same thing, Ralph, that I told was it Courtney? I think it was Courtney. Was their name right?
I
think
the
so.
lady who watched everything.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Courtney was the name of the person who watched everything. The thing is 8 months. Sure, fair enough. I think I said it
months.
before. I'll tell you the same thing I told them. If you are able to get through the first half of that show of Atheist Sunday School,
Yeah.
everything else is a breeze. Because at the beginning, we fucking sucked.
Oh boy.
Well, not only did we suck, we had like a terrible setup.
Yeah.
We had like a much more limited concept where we weren't doing any commentaries. We weren't doing anything like even vaguely academic. We were just reading
Yeah.
the Bible and giving like atheist spiels.
Yeah, exactly. But then as you can tell, as the show goes on, we start adding books and things get kind of out of control at some point.
Also our performance on camera dramatically
Right.
changes over time.
That is true.
It gets a little ridiculous at certain points, but that's the fun
Believe it.
part.
Yeah, Chris knows. He was here for the whole thing.
Yeah, I was.
Behold.
Hey, Behold is still pretty good.
Yep.
Are
Let's
we-
continue?
Almost. We're almost done. Don't worry.
I was gonna say.
Yeah.
I didn't even
Almost
consider
done.
how
What do
long
you
we've gone, but
mean?
it's fine.
We still have 80 verses.
Wow.
Let's see here. So I just finished 159.
Yes.
So 160. Whoever brings virtue will receive a reward 10 times its like, but whoever brings vice will not be requited except with its like, and they will not be wronged.
Pretty
They will
straightforward.
not be wronged. Okay, so like everyone's going to get what they deserve.
Right.
Say, my Lord has indeed guided me to a straight path, the upright religion, the creed of Abraham, a Hanif. Chris is waving
It's
at
like,
me.
whoa, that's crazy.
Oh, I thought you were like, hello.
Hi. Welcome to Atheist Sunday School. Yeah.
Right, I was kind of confused. I was
Hello,
like, why is
everybody.
Chris waving
Welcome to
at me?
Atheist Sunday
Oh.
School, your one-stop shop for everything Atheist Sunday School. And boy, do we have a show for you
today.
Today we're covering Genesis chapter 1.
Genesis chapter 1, yeah.
Yeah.
It was even worse than that earlier.
Well, we did like Genesis 1 through 2 the
Yeah.
first time because we wanted to talk about the fact that they were different origin stories.
Yeah.
Um,
But the thing is, because by the end of it, we got like a lot better at doing this, we could have easily covered that in a much shorter amount of time.
and in much greater depth
Yeah.
and with better sources.
Right.
And,
Gosh,
Yeah.
rub
We,
it in.
man, we really sucked back then.
you know, if we redid Atheist Sunday School like all the way through,
Yeah.
then that would take another 6 years. So we're not doing that.
Yeah.
But you guys get to watch the culmination of all of the knowledge we've gained in, I guess, what's that other show you're on?
Oh yeah, Blasphemous Bible.
Yeah, that show.
Yeah, you want to
Which
join
is- No.
in? Oh yeah, don't.
No, I don't have time for
yeah,
that.
I know.
Yeah. But yeah, that's going on.
It is. Yeah.
It's not as good as this show.
Definitely not. No, this
This show
one's
is
way better.
the best show.
It is. Yeah.
Um,
In fact, because it's so good and because it's the best show, if you haven't dropped a like, what's wrong with you?
I don't
Dro-
know.
drop a like.
lot.
And
God,
subscribe
rub
if
it
you
in.
haven't.
Imagine not having dropped a like.
Right. It's illegal
I have,
to watch
I
and
have.
not drop a like. Anyways.
Illegal. We'll send the fun police after you.
We will. Either way, Abraham here is a Hanif, and he has not.
See, the last person added the like after I talked about the fun police. That worked.
Also, my unfinished journey. Hail Nero, Lawrence, and Suck. You know what? I always hail the Suck. The Suck
Yeah.
is my
Thank
favorite
you.
part. Thank you for the 222. Very much appreciated.
Yes, and that is a wonderful, I guess, bronze.
Yeah, it looks
cap.
bronze. Yeah, but hey, that's awesome. That's awesome. Maybe one day you'll be as good as Ryan. Or wait, hold on. Looks like April lost hers.
Oh no, what happened?
Wow.
April, but
Oh, no,
what
it's fine, it's fine, it's fine.
happened?
I mean, seriously, I thought you had
Yeah.
one for like ever.
No, yeah, but one day someone will get the ascended calf or the ascended cow, I guess, at that point, right?
It's
At
just
that point, it's a cow.
it's
Or a bull.
too
The ascended
holy.
bull.
It's too holy, too supreme. Are you gonna reach it?
Actually, hold on, Chris, pull it up.
Yeah.
We're able to do that. We're able to pull up
yeah.
the.
Throw up
There
the
you go.
cow images that.
These are pretty solid, I think.
Yeah.
Look at that last one at the bottom
that
there.
could be you.
It could be you. Yeah, don't you want to look like that?
Yeah, America started a trade war with
Yeah.
your country.
Hey, I get it. I get it. This country does kind of suck. Sorry about the trade war.
Damn it. Now,
Ryan,
they're-
though. Holy
Thank
shit.
you.
With the
Ryan.
huge 5 gifties. And it doesn't look like April gets it, but other people get it, and that's awesome. Thank you very much, Ryan. Very much appreciated. And he's at the, I don't know if that's the golden calf or the golden bull stage, but he's there.
You're there.
He's there.
That's the think calf. Yeah.
Thank you very much for that, Ryan.
Yes.
Uh,
Gazalam Ale is an interesting name.
That is an
like
interesting name.
A beer? Brand. I'm going to look it up.
didn't you have some ale here? Isn't that what you brought recently?
Dude, I don't know what he brings.
No?
He brings
Okay.
a lot of stuff here.
All right.
sometimes.
Anyways, I'm gonna continue on though. That was So
This
Not
is like a person. Just like straight up some dude.
okay. My Lord has indeed guided me a straight path, the upright religion, the creed of Abraham, a Hanif, and he was not one of the polytheists. We see that a lot. Oh yeah, and we have seen multiple comments about him being a Hanif.
Mhm.
So also my unfinished journey with one gifty going to Maya.
Yeah.
That is well deserved. Maya has been she's been around for a while in this community.
Yes, she has.
So congrats, Maya, and thank you, my unfinished journey. So 162. Say, indeed, my prayer and my worship, my life and my death are for the sake of God, the Lord of all the worlds, which means all the lands.
Or all the nations,
Right,
or
yes.
everything that exists, or
Yes.
there are various interpretations of the
Hot
phrase.
dog.
He has no partner, and I have been commanded to follow this creed, and I am the first of those who submit to God. So that is, for whoever is, if you're confronted by I guess unbelievers, this is very much this is the creed of Abraham, right? Or maybe not the creed of Abraham, but this is essentially, I would imagine, a fairly important creed in Islam. That's my guess, but I could be totally wrong.
Possibly, but it's not grouped together here in any specific way in the commentary that I have. So apparently, oh wait, no, it looks like can.
Yeah, it doesn't have like anything super specific, but I don't know. It just seemed like it would be important to me.
Mhm.
Yeah.
According to a hadith cited by some commentators, the Prophet would recite these two verses along with Abraham's statement in verse 79. Truly, as a Hanif, I have turned my face toward him who created the heavens and the earth, and I am not of the idolaters, before beginning his nightly prayer. So there is some tradition that holds these verses in particular as important.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, there's at least something there. Anyways, continuing on here with 164. Shall I seek a Lord other than God while he is the Lord of all things? No soul does evil except against itself, and no bearer shall bear another's burden. Then your return will be to your Lord, whereat he will inform you concerning that about which you used to differ. So that's like Day of Judgment talk.
Mm-hmm. We've seen a lot of that in this surah.
Right, especially that at the end you will just be judged for your own deeds.
Yes.
That's it. And anytime you do something bad, you're just screwing yourself over. Mm-hmm. So now verse 165, I think that's the last one for today, right?
Yes.
And the end of this.
Yeah, the end of the surah, yeah. Mm-hmm. It is he who has made you successors on the earth and raised some of you in rank above others so that he may test you with respect to what he has given you. Your Lord is indeed swift in retribution, and he is indeed all forgiving, all merciful. Yes. I do want to point out that whole thing about, remember in a verse earlier, we got the whole, like, he gets to choose your successor sort of thing?
Mm-hmm. The successors is Khalif, singular Khalifa. The usual plural, which is Khulafa, which means representatives or successors.
So that would explain the actual...
Or vice regents, even. In Islamic political terminology, the term is in the singular, becomes the title of the head of the unified Islamic state, anglicized as Caliph.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
So
the first vice regent appointed on earth is Adam. And insofar as Adam represented humanity as a whole, all humans can be understood to be God's vice regents on earth. The Quran also uses vice regents upon the earth to refer to newer generations or communities that succeeded older ones that have been destroyed for their wrongdoings. But
it'd be interesting to look in like the early political connotations of this.
Mm-hmm.
So that
it says that it raises some people by degrees above others.
Exactly, yeah.
And the degrees among people mentioned in other verses may pertain to degrees in this world or in the hereafter or both. In the present verse, the subsequent clause, that he may try you, suggests that the degrees in this verse are degrees that pertain to earthly existence, since people are tried only in this world. They receive their recompense in the next. God is swift in retribution. God is tailor in retribution. That's the end of the reading for today. So what did you think of Surah 6?
You know, I think so far this has probably been... Has it been the most interesting?
In some ways. I mean, the commandment materials are interesting, but a lot of it also is just this kind of...
A lot of stuff on jinn.
Yeah.
In this surah.
The jinn stuff is interesting as well. The unfortunate thing is that a lot of it is just like end times, the judgment's coming to you.
That is...
Which we are seeing a lot of, and hopefully... The rest of the Quran is not like super repetitive with this.
Yeah, just that.
Yeah.
So
Did you guys hear about that thing?
The thing?
Yeah, they're gonna say it again and again and again.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I've heard about that.
Don't worry,
thing,
if you missed it that last time.
Yeah, I'll hear it again. Okay, thank you. I think this had some interesting stuff in it. I wrote down quite a few things. More stuff on partners, the resurrection. There is right. The book of fate as a key, taking souls by night, also resurrecting you. Death and angels taking you, right? Or angels taking liars to punishment. That was kind of interesting. Yeah. Right, and then we have to look into how pagans are represented. We got the 9 commandments and some interesting, at least interesting to me, this note on the caliph, or the people who are going to, rule.
Yes.
In what way they're ruling, these ranks.
Indeed. I think that is interesting, but we've covered that surah. Now we are getting through the Quran very, very slowly over time here. And next week we will be beginning Surah 7.
And Surah 7 is called The Elevated Places.
The elevated places.
Yeah.
The high places.
Good point. Yeah. Revealed at Mecca, apparently.
Wait, I thought they don't like those hype. Never mind.
So we will
The sober places.
we'll go over that next time. But this time you guys can buy our shirts.
You can.
You can
on
buy
wish list.
things for us on the wish list. Yeah.
Lots of cool stuff
You
on there. A
can-
lot of books.
You can give Lawrence money.
You could, theoretically.
Thanks for the
and
memberships.
You know,
Patreon, you could win a shirt.
on Patreon, if you want specifically to give me money, you can note that
Sure.
in your thing. You can.
Chris is never all right.
You
What?
can give
I'm
Chris
a fucking nihilist.
money.
Somehow I'm alive.
He heard you moan in the background. Well, hopefully.
Oh. Well, maybe I'm playing a card game on my phone and I lose or something. I don't know.
Mhm. Well, hopefully it's that.
Yeah, let's hope.
If you want to support us in other ways, you can
Share with your friends,
share
family,
with your
dogs,
friends,
cats.
family. Write down our URL on pieces of paper, fold them into paper airplanes, and throw them out the window of whatever vehicle you're in next.
That's a great idea. I love that. Thank you so much for that, Ruben. And thank you, everyone, for joining us. It's a fun show today.
Yep.
We'll see you on Wednesday, a week from now, for Surah 7, the next Surah, the number that comes after 6.
Trying to get to see you, but yeah, I got it.
Goodbye.